Allegra Geller is hailed as the goddess of the game pod during an antenna company conference. She holds a single ski boot and discusses Assassination, a new game system, Metaflesh. Almost everyone in the room agrees to test the new system. At the entryway, Ted, a game company employee, checks Noel Dichter for recording equipment. Noel has an old game pod and is concerned about the demo. The demo features flesh-like game pods that allow players to interact with the game. As they enter the game in a trance, Noel produces an odd-looking rifle from within his game pod and shoots Allegra in the shoulder. The players around her feel the impact, and Noel is shot by security. Ted takes the gun and whisks Allegra away. Allegra disposes of Ted's phone in the car because it can be used to trace them. He uses a pocket knife to extract the bullet, which is a tooth. They realize the pistol and ammunition are made of flesh and bone, which cannot be detected by a scanner. They stop at a motel. Ted wants to check in with Antenna, but Allegra wants to test the game and needs Ted's aid. Ted does not have a bioport. They visit a gas station and ask the attendant to install an illegal port. He agrees after recognizing Allegra. When she connects her pod to Ted, it shorts out, shutting everyone out of the game. Gas reappears with a shotgun, explaining that Ted's port is useless. Ted shoots Gas in the neck before he kills Allegra. Allegra and Ted head to an ancient ski club where they discover Kiri Vinokur. She hands the ski boot to Kiri for safekeeping, and Kiri and Landry work together to fix the pod. Later, Allegra and Ted join the game, and Ted's world shifts. Allegra explains, "You have to play the game to figure out why you're playing it." They encounter DRC Nader, the owner of a game shop, and Ted finds that non-player characters, NPCs, must act in accordance with his actions and speech. Nader offers them micropods, which they use to port in. Ted's character makes a pass at Allegra, who reacts. During the interaction, the picture abruptly shifts to Ted at a fish farm, working on a conveyor belt as Larry, alongside Yevgeny Nourish. Yevgeny says that the trout farm is now utilized to produce game pods. Yevgeny recommends eating lunch at the Chinese restaurant and ordering the special. He discovers Allegra, but she appears to behave similarly to the other NPCs. Ted tells her he is nervous during lunch and is able to suspend the game. Back in reality, Ted begins to believe that the real world is fabricated. They rejoin the game, and the special of the day appears. It looks disgusting, but Ted's character eats it nevertheless. He reassembles the bones into the identical weapon he discovered in the real world. He shoots the waiter against his will and destroys the firearm. Yevgeny appears and tells them that the waiter was a traitor. Yevgeny walks them to the creature's breeding pool and explains that, in addition to pods, they are developing undetectable weaponry for a secret agency. The trout farm where Ted and Allegra work is owned by Cortical Systematics, and Yevgeny's corporation wishes to eliminate all non-real features, such as pod games. They return to the game shop and talk to Hugo Carlisle. Hugo shows them Nader's dead body and informs them that Nader and Yevgeny Nourish work for Cortical Systematics, and Ted should not have killed the waiter. Hugo is with the realist underground. He orders them to assassinate Yevgeny. They return to the trout farm and find a game pod waiting for them. She gets into the pod, but something goes awry. Ted severs her connection to the pod, and she begins to bleed out. Yevgeny arrives and burns the pod, releasing lethal spores. Allegra stabs him, and the farm catches fire. They wake up back at the ski lodge. Allegra's pod has contracted the sickness during the game. She injects the pod with spore disinfectant and discovers that Ted's bioport is also infested. She realizes Kiri has installed an infected bioport. Suddenly, the ski lodge is invaded, and the game cashier enters, speaking of liberation, and destroys the pod. Ted understands they're still in the game. Outside, a battle rages, and the cashier discusses reality's win, existence's death. He points a gun at Allegra, but Kiri shoots him from behind. Kiri explains that he replicated the game and attempts to recruit Allegra for Cortical Systematics. Allegra shoots Kiri. Ted points out that she has committed murder and then attempts to kill her. Allegra activates the bomb she implanted into Ted's bioport and celebrates, believing she has won the game. Allegra and Ted return to the seminar, and the group debriefs, applauding them. The session proctor, Merla, informs everyone that they will receive a discount on the following game, Transcendent Z. We realize Allegra is merely pretending to be a game designer, while Yevgeny is the actual one. Yevgeny tells Merle he is concerned about the anti-designer motif. Ted and Allegra shoot Yevgeny and Merle before shouting, "Death to Transcendez." The Chinese waiter inquires, "Are we still in the game?"